Dear friends, this is episode number 17. We have covered in episode number 16 up to Rule 46C of Order 21. Now we will deal with Rule 46D onwards. Please read Rule 46D. Procedure where the debt belongs to third person. In the diagram or in the description, I have not mentioned about a third person. So somewhere near the diagram, you may note third person and mark D. Not with any arrow mark. Write down the third person hyphen D. Now, procedure where the debt belongs to third person. Where it is suggested or appears to be probable that the debt belongs to some third person, or that any third person has a lien or charge on or other interest in such debt, the court may order that such third person, underline third person and mark D, third person D, to appear and state the nature of the particulars of his claim, if any, to such debt and prove the same. Where it is suggested, either C says or a third person appears and says, that is when it is brought to the notice of the court. Suppose C says, the debt belongs to not to B, but to another person. That means in execution of A's decree against B, C cannot be directed to pay the amount because C says C has no liability to B. C has a liability to D, not to B. If C's liability is to pay the debt is to D, then C cannot be directed to deposit that amount in court in discharge of A's debt. C disputes the liability which we have seen. C says, no money is due to B. That liability will be decided. Suppose a third party's interest is put forward, or that a third person has a lien or charge on such debt. Then also that lien or charge, whatever it is, that will be decided. Or other interest in such debt. The court may order such third person to appear and state the nature and particulars of the claim, if any, to such debt and prove the same. Court will issue notice to that third person. So when it is suggested or appears, there must be some materials before court. C keeps mum, or he does not appear, or he pays the amount in court, then that is an end of the matter. Because the court will pass an order which can be, which will have the effect of a decree which can be straightaway executed, which is capable of being executed. But if C disputes where it is suggested or appears to be probable that the debt belongs to some third person, or a third person has a lien or charge on, or other interest in such debt, the court may order such third person to appear and state the nature and particulars of his claim, if any, to such debt and prove the same. Court will issue notice to D. All right, we will hear him. You state the nature of the claim. Prove it. 46C. Order as regards third person. After hearing such third person, mark, underline and mark D. After hearing such third person and any person or persons who may subsequently be ordered to appear, so that is not an end of the matter. The court may issue successive notices also, because it has started the proceeding. It has to end in something tangible. Court could not go helpless. If a party approaches the court to do a particular thing which under law he is entitled to do, then the court cannot plead helplessness. Court can issue such processes to such third parties as well. After hearing such third person and any person or persons who may subsequently be ordered to appear, or where such third or other person or persons do not appear when so ordered, the court may make such order as is hereinbefore provided, or such other order or orders upon such terms, if any, with respect to the lien, charge or interest as the case may be, of such third or other person or persons as it may deem fit and proper. After hearing the third party, that is D, third person, D, the court will decide that issue. Court will decide the question of the liability. Court will also decide the lien or charge of any such third person over the debt, and then pass appropriate orders. Then 46F, payment by garnishee to be a valid discharge. Payment made by the garnishee, C, on notice under Rule 46A or under such order as aforesaid shall be a valid discharge to him as against the judgmentator. Judgmentator is B. Valid discharge to him as against the judgmentator. Mark judgmentator B. And any other person ordered to appear as aforesaid for the amount paid or levied, although the decree in execution of which the application under 46A was made or the order passed in the proceeding on such application may be set aside or reversed. Although the decree in execution of which the application was made or the order passed in the proceedings on such application may be set aside or reversed. Whatever may be the effect of such decree which is sought to be executed by A against B, the court passes an order to C or D or whoever it is and then decides an issue and a payment is made by the person concerned. He is discharged from the liability. What will happen thereafter? How restitution should be made, how the status quo ante should be restored, how the parties' rights and liabilities should be adjusted. All these are matters for the subsequent stages in the execution proceedings. But C has obeyed the order of the court. He cannot be again directed to fight a litigation. What will happen? Suppose A has obtained a decree against B. He immediately files an execution petition. Garnishee proceedings are initiated. Garnishee pays that amount in court. Then subsequently, on B's appeal, A's decree is reversed and the suit is dismissed. What will happen? A cannot realize the amount from B and initiate garnishee proceedings and direct payment of the amount by C into court, which will be paid over to A. Suppose the garnishee obeys the order. That is again I will explain. A has obtained a decree against B. B has to realize a debt from C. C is the garnishee. On A's application, a notice is issued to C to appear and to pay the amount in court. He obeyed it because he has to pay the debt to B. Instead of paying that debt, he obeys the order of the court and deposits the amount. That amount belongs to whom? Should be paid to whom? To A. It is paid. Then an appeal was filed by B. It was pending at the time of execution. No stay was there. And it was executed in the manner which I said. Then A's decree is reversed in appeal and his suit is dismissed. That means A cannot realize the amount from B. Then how can he realize the amount from C? He cannot. But C paid it and that is a valid discharge. Then what will happen is the next question. A will be directed to pay back deposit the amount in court, because A is not entitled to get the decree amount because his decree has been set aside by the appellate court. That means A cannot recover the amount from B. So A will be directed to deposit that amount in court. Then what will happen? That amount will be paid over to B, because B is entitled to realize the debt from C or pass such orders as are necessary, so that adjust the rights of parties in spite of the fact that the decree in execution of which the application under Rule 46A was made has been reversed, is no ground to affect the valid discharge of C on payment, on compliance with the order passed by the court. 46G. Cause. The cause of any application made under 46A and any proceeding arising therefrom or incidental thereto shall be in the discretion of the court. Cost always in the discretion of the court. 46H. Appeals. An order made under 46B, Rule 46B, Rule 46C or Rule 46E shall be appealable as a decree. What is Rule 46B? Rule 46B, order against the garnishee. What is 46C? Trial of disputed questions. 46E, order against the third person. So these are the three contingencies in which the court may pass a final order. Either against the garnishee, or deciding the disputed questions, or passing an order which affects the third person as well. All such orders are orders in execution. They are not decrees as such, but shall be appealable as a decree. If it is an order passed by the executing court, no appeal lies, because it is only an order. But C is a third party. D is also a third party. Trial of disputed questions takes place. Third parties' interests who are not parties in the suit are being decided in the execution proceedings. For the first time, had they been parties, suppose B had filed a suit against C and C had disputed the liability, the suit will be decided and C has got a right of appeal against a decree which B may obtain. But in this proceeding, when dispute is raised by C and that question is decided by the court executing the decree in favor of A, and that decision goes in against C, what is the remedy of C? Because it is only an order in execution, no appeal lies. Therefore, a provision has been made, it will have the effect of a decree, thereby it is a deemed decree. In which case, suppose C disputes the liability. C says that no, he has no liability to pay any amount to B. That disputed question is decided for the first time in the execution proceedings which A has initiated against B. And C comes for the first time in court and it is decided. He is aggrieved by that decision. He has to file an appeal. He could have filed an appeal had it been a suit between B and C, because every decree passed in a suit, an appeal lies under section 96. But that is not the position if it is an order passed by the executing court. That order is not as such appealable. But here it is made appealable. Appealable as a decree. That means the defeated party gets a right to challenge that order in an appeal. There is a difference between an appeal against a decree and an appeal against an order, or a revision against the order, or a original petition against that order. All the scope and ambit are different. Therefore, the scheme of CPC is such that wherever you go in the CPC, when for the first time a third party's right or liability is decided by the court in a proceeding, an appeal is provided, either by making it a deemed decree or by making special provision for filing appeal, so that he will not lose an opportunity to file an appeal only because he comes in not directly in the litigation but indirectly. That right is protected by providing, either you can see it in Order 21 Rule 58, where claims or objections to attachment are made, third parties make claim, or in proceedings under Order 21 Rule 97 to 104, when a third party obstructs or a third party puts forward a claim, garnishee proceedings, or in any proceeding in which a third party's right or liability is involved and it is decided for the first time in another proceeding in which he was not initially a party, then the CPC provides for an appeal. Then 46I, application to negotiable instruments. The provisions of Rule 46A to 46H, both inclusive, shall, so far as may be, apply in relation to negotiable instruments attached under Rule 51 as they apply in relation to debts. These provisions, in so far as they apply, it applies to negotiable instruments as well. So that we have covered garnishee. You have to read the commentaries. I have not mentioned about any decision here. I have got some decisions with me, but I am not multing the episode with all those decisions and spend time on it. You can, even otherwise, you have to read it, you have to understand it, and again with reference to the diagram which I requested you to draw, and then read and understand once for all. Now we are not going to Rule 47, we are straight away going to Rule 53, because this is something similar to garnishee proceedings. It has got elements which are common. That is why I resort to dealing with Rule 53, attachment of decree. Attachment of decree. Here also you may draw a diagram. Under Rule 53, you write A. Put an arrow mark towards down. Then B. Put an arrow mark towards right side. And write C. A, B, C. The proceeding is between A and B. But in execution, C comes in. Now write within brackets of A. I will read out. Several expressions are being used in this Rule 53. Rule 53 is to some extent complicated. Different expressions are used according to the convenience at the appropriate place, and you have to understand what is meant by that. For easy understanding, I am saying this. As against A, write in brackets, decree holder. Then write equal to. Holder of the decree sought to be executed. Holder of the decree sought to be executed. Then again equal to. Creditor who attached the decree. Creditor who attached the decree. Then, as against B, you may write down judgment letter of A. Judgment letter of A. Then in the arrow mark towards the right side, pointing to C. On the on above the arrow mark or below the arrow mark conveniently, you may write B obtained a decree against. B obtained a decree against. That means B arrow mark C. On the above or below arrow mark we have written B obtained a decree against. Then it goes to C. So B obtained a decree against C. And within the brackets of C, you may write judgment letter of B. Judgment letter of B equal to holder of the attached decree. Holder of the I think I committed a mistake. Holder of the attached decree equal to holder of the decree sought to be attached. Correct. Right. So C is judgment letter of B, holder of the attached decree, I committed a mistake. Judgment letter of B, holder of the attached decree is B, and holder of the decree sought to be attached is also B. So as against B, you have to write judgment letter of A, holder of the attached decree equal to holder of the decree sought to be attached. So as against C, judgment letter of B equal to judgment letter bound by the decree attached. Judgment letter bound by the decree attached. Now we will get these expressions in different places in Rule 53. What is the difference between garnishee proceedings and attachment of decree? In the garnishee proceedings, A has obtained a decree against B and B has to realize a debt from C. So there is only one decree which A has obtained against B. And in execution of that decree, a liability which C has towards B is sought to be realized. That is garnishee. There is only one decree. Here there are two decrees. One, a decree which A obtains against B, and another decree which B obtained against C. Very strange proceeding. Decree is also an item of property. So we have seen under section 60 what are all the properties attached. All these things will come. So a decree can be attached just like any other movable or immovable property or share or negotiable instrument, whatever it is. A decree is also liable to attachment. Here a decree is to be attached. For what purpose? A has obtained a decree against B, A has to realize his decree debt. B has obtained a decree against C. By attaching the decree which B obtained against C and proceeding with the manner provided under Rule 53, the amount under the decree which A has obtained against B can be realized. A steps into the shoes of B, and B can execute the decree which he has obtained against C. But A also can execute the decree which B has obtained against C with the permission of the court. So A becomes a representative of B, and though there is no privity of contract between A and C, A can execute the decree against C and realize the amount and appropriate it towards the decree liability under the decree which A has obtained against B. That is a procedure here. The difference between Garnischi and Rule 53 is there the liability which B the right or liability as between B and C is that of a debt. Here under Rule 53 it is a decree. So A has obtained a decree against B and B has obtained a decree against C. In execution of the decree which A has obtained against B, the decree which B has obtained against C is being attached under this rule and appropriate steps taken to execute the decree which A has obtained against B. This is a procedure. I propose to read each and every word in Rule 53. You will have the CPC with you. There also it is to be marked. Then we will see it because it will not be over in this episode. We will have it in the next episode. Thank you.